controller versus LiveView and the LiveView cycle. In Phoenix, there are two ways to handle a user request, the old way and the LiveView way. Let's break down both. The traditional approach works like any web framework you have used before. A user hits a URL, the router picks a controller action. The controller does its work, maybe queries the database, then passes data to a template which renders HTML and sends it back as an HTTP response. Done, connection closed, the server forgets you ever existed. Every click, every form submit, same cycle, full page reload every time. It's simple. It works, but it is stateless. The server has no memory between requests. LiveView flips that model. It still starts with HTTP. The first request works exactly like a controller, so the page loads fast and search engines can read it, but then the browser quietly upgrades to a WebSocket. Now, persistent Elixir process wakes up on the server. The process holds your page state in memory. It's alive as long as you have the page open. Here's how that process works. First, you hit the route. Second, mount runs. This is there, initialize your data, set up the socket with whatever the page needs to display. Then render runs. It takes the data and returns an EX template HTML that Phoenix sends to the browser. Now the user does something, clicks a button, submits a form that fires an event over the WebSocket to the server. Handle event catches it. You update the socket assigns, use your state, and that's it. Phoenix diffs the new render against the old one and sends only what changed back to the browser, not the whole page, just the diff. And the cycle, event, handle event, re-render, diff, browser repeats for as long as the user is on the page. And final catch, controller, stateless, request, response, simple. LiveView, stateful, persistent, real-time, and no JavaScript required. That's the power of Phoenix LiveView. Now that the project is up and running, the next step is to tell Phoenix where our LiveView lives, open the router, and define a new live route. We will map the /counter path to a model called counterLive. This tells Phoenix exactly which model should handle requests when a user visits that URL. Next, let's create the LiveView itself. Inside the phxblog web directory, create a new live folder. Then add a file called counterlive.ex. Inside this file, I like to start with the render function. It helps to visualize the final UI before getting into the logic. Since this is not an HTML or CSS lesson, I will just paste in some simple markup and keep styling minimal. Now let's define the mount function. This is there we initialize the state when the page loads. With that in place, we can implement the core functionality. First, the increment logic. We define a handle event for increment and use update to increase the counter by 1. Next, the decrement logic. Again, we define a handle event, but this time we make sure the value never goes below 0 by using the max function. Then the reset logic. This is a simple one. We assign the count back to 0. Now, we connect everything back to UIE. In the render function, we add phx click handlers to each button. Decrement for minus button, reset for reset button, increment for plus button. Finally, open your browser and go to localhost 4000/counter. And that's it. Everything works. We have built a fully interactive counter using LiveView without writing a single line of JavaScript.